I rise in support of Congressman Mulvaney's confirmation for the OMB director for many of the reasons that a number of my colleagues have come down to the floor and mentioned. The presiding officer just talked about some of those reasons. My colleague and friend from Wisconsin did a few minutes ago. And those are two issues that don't get talked about enough here, and certainly weren't talked about enough in the last 8 years. And that's, as the presiding officer mentioned just a few minutes ago, economic growth and the overregulation of our economy. Now, Mr. President, again, it wasn't talked about a lot, but we had a lost decade of economic growth. The end of the Bush years, the entire Obama years, never hit 3% GDP growth in 1 year. Never. First president in the history of the country not to do that. For thousands, millions of Americans, the American dream was starting to disappear. Because nobody focused on the issue of growth. And I think in November, the American people voted and said, we're not going to give up on the American dream. We want growth. We want opportunity. So why did we have that lost decade of growth? Where the economy grew at an anemic, 1.5% GDP growth each quarter? Well, Mr. President, I think this chart shows a lot of the reasons right here. The explosion of federal regulations that have literally choked opportunity and economic growth in our country. Year after year, Democrat or Republican, this is what we see. And this regulatory overreach impacts all kinds of Americans, mostly small businesses. This is a big reason why this economy has been stuck in first gear. When I had my discussions with Congressman Mulvaney, we focused on this issue of growth, and we focused on this issue of overregulation. We haven't had an OMB director in years who's focused like a laser on growth, like a laser on making sure we don't overburden our economy the way the federal government has done for decades. That's exactly what we need right now, Mr. President. We need growth. We need opportunity for Americans. We need the federal government to be a partner in opportunity, not an obstacle, as it is in so many states. And for these reasons, because I believe the next OMB director is going to be focused on these issues, opportunity for Americans, and growth for our economy, which sorely needs it, I plan on voting for the confirmation of Congressman Mulvaney, and I encourage my colleagues to do the same.